Regular meeting of the Sacramento-Yolo Port District Commission and Board of Directors, Sacramento-Yolo Port Financing Corporation, June 7th, 2023. Mayor Guerrero is not present. She was trapped behind a slow-moving plane, so it sounds like she's going to be delayed and will not make it this evening. So let's see. We did meet in closed session. Court Attorney, is there anything to report out at this point?
No, nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Very good. With that, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. How about if we have Mr. Tim Campbell, if you'll come up to the podium and lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Actually, you can have him use the microphone if he wants to start with the pledge. That's perfect. There you go. All he has to do is say, I pledge allegiance, and we'll take the rest.
Ready?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States
of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll begin with presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda, but within the subject matter and jurisdiction of the Port Commission. So, Madam Clerk, are there any slips to speak on items that are not on the agenda?
There are two.
Very
One
good.
is Tim Campbell.
All right. Come on up. So these are items that are not on the agenda, correct?
Correct.
Very good. Good evening.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having me. I'm Tim Campbell. I'm the president of ILWU Local 18 Longshore Division at the Port of West Sacramento. I would request today that we start entertaining the idea of maybe moving forward with a workshop with SSA, the City of West Sacramento, and the ILWU on matters that concern the Port of West Sacramento. And those are my requests right now.
Very good.
Okay?
All right.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Very good. And as you know, we cannot converse or dialogue about items that are not appropriately agendized. That would be a violation of the Brown Act. So, but we'll take it under advisement and we'll be in communication with you on that. Very good. Thank you.
Next, we have Derek Peterson.
All right. Peterson, good evening.
Derek Peterson, Local 18. My concerns are when the port was ran or took over the governance change, to my understanding, there's urban development funding for the feds that helped pay the cost for the change of the city taking over the governance. And then when that went away, that's when I believe the lease to SSA went in. We were non-profitable before SSA. Now it sounds like we've been in profit. Is there any accounts in the port that is there for maintenance? Because I don't see no maintenance, and it seems like there's millions that were made, but nothing seems to go back into the port. And if there's a commission here and it's on their own entity, because I try to act this at the city council. If something was to happen, are we looking for grants? Are we looking for loans? Are we begging to help? Because I don't see the infrastructure in the port and around the port changing any. And there should be something in case that rainy day comes and roof caves in. Where do we go? Is there monies there, or is it just close that, red tape that warehouse, and maybe we'll fix it some other day? That's really what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of things getting red tagged. We lost warehouses. I'm concerned because I hope that we're doing the right thing and the port can sustain itself. I've been there for a long time, and there's been a lot of studies done about it on it could sustain itself if they would have acted on so many different things. That's how we got the governance out of Sacramento's hand into West Sac, I believe. So I would like to know if that's there, if it's just a wish list, or if where exactly are these profits, if there are any, going?
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. So what we can do, I hear maybe an opportunity to highlight aspects of our regular budget discussions as it pertains to maintenance, and so maybe there's a way that we can highlight that without getting into too much discussion. We can, we'll talk to staff and we'll get back. How's that? Right.
We have one more speaker, Ashley McCarty.
Hello, I have a questions about the checks and balance when it comes to something that is being brought before the Port Commission. And if it is brought in front of you guys and then it goes to City Council, if there are a majority of the same people in a commission as there is on a council, how do we make sure that the checks and balances are being met there? So that it's not just one opinion being asked in one place, going to the second place and those same opinions are there without having any different point of views or any other inputs. That's what one of my concerns is for. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay. Are there any other slips to speak?
No.
If not, okay. Thank you for your public testimony. That takes us then to item 2, which is consideration and approval of the minutes from the October 2022 meeting. So we'll need a motion by the commission to adopt the meeting minutes from October.
Early moves.
Early moves,
Sulpicio Hall, second.
and we have a second. So, Madam Clerk? Roll call.
Commissioner Early.
Aye.
Commissioner Sulpicio Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Orozco. Chair Villegas.
Aye. All right, motion carries. Very good, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, that's item 3, consideration of an amendment to the 2013 Master Lease and Terminal Operations Management Agreement. So we'll take a staff presentation and then we'll take some public comment on the item. So Rick, you're presenting?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Commission. I'm sitting over here in the corner. I can't quite see you, but I'll keep this brief. I know we have some speakers who probably want to comment, but 10 years ago, 2013, the Commission approved the North Terminal Master Lease with SSA as the cornerstone of a new landlord operating model at the port. Last 10 years, as you can see in the staff report, have been a success financially, a bit of a miracle actually, considering where we came from prior to that, and a win for the city and SSA, and in my opinion, a win for the ILWU. We're in a much better position today financially than we were 10 years ago. To Derek's comments about maintenance, we do have a modest maintenance budget. We've done some paving. We've done some building repairs. We try to keep our maintenance budget within the annual cash flow of the port so as to grow our cash balances. We can talk more about that offline. I would say, our success over the last 10 years has created expectations and anxiety now about the future, particularly with the ILWU. And frankly, our success has been a bit superficial. It obscures our weaknesses, frankly, and some unresolved long-term issues, namely, we have contamination. We have soil and groundwater contamination. We have obsolete facilities that need to be replaced. And we have a lack of capital to make major long-term investments for the future of operation. But the lease amendment that we've negotiated with SSA was developed with all these issues in mind. Another factor weighing on the port is the future uncertainty related to the enterprise crossing and flood protection facilities on the ship channel. And the lease amendment was designed to provide flexibility to the city in years ahead as those facilities are being designed. And the amendment provides SSA with a minimum of 3 years plus 7 one-year extension options for a potential total of 10 years that would take the lease through June of 2033. SSA is a proven partner in West Sacramento, brings expertise and resources. As one of the world's largest terminal operators, the lease amendment would extend and deepen that partnership. So the agenda report outlines the provisions in the amendment. The amendment has been approved by SSA. and it's attached to the report along with the original lease. And before I close, I would like to introduce Ray Arciniega. He is the terminal manager for SSA, oversees daily operations, does a great job out there. Ray's available to answer any questions, as am I. If Ray wants to come to the podium and speak, I would encourage you to encourage that as well. So I'll close with that. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Rick, for that very brief presentation. Are there any questions initially before we go to public comment? See no questions, then Madam Clerk, are there slips to speak?
Tim Campbell.
All right, sir.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, again, Tim Campbell, President, ILW Local 18, Longshore Division, Port of West Sacramento. September 6, 2006, SSA came in as a quasi-terminal landlord operator, Rick Toff's word, quasi. 2013, they took over as a full, correct? Okay. So they put a lot of skin in the game when there was a lot of uncertainties. And since then, they've stayed in there, and they've worked well with us. We've been a strong advocate for SSA. They've been a strong advocate for the ILW labor. They've been a strong advocate for the port as well, Port of West Sacramento, one of the largest stevedoring companies in the world. And I believe a 3-year lease is disrespectful. I think the minimum they should have is at least a 5. I would encourage everybody to send it back to the table to renegotiate to get 5. There's no disincentives for bringing no cargo in. There's no incentives in there for doing better. I think there's a little bit more work that needs to be done on the lease. We support them getting the lease. We are partners with SSA. We are partners with the city. And we encourage the commission to really get involved with this contract. And I understand there are flood protection issues going on. I understand there are bridge issues going on. My international has met with the city and let them know that we would partner with them to go after grant monies for anything that has to do with the Port of West Sacramento using our political reach. I'm going to Washington, D.C. Monday to help secure some of this stuff and be able to allow some of this to happen, to meet with some of our Congress people up there, Department of Transportation. I'm going to meet with Army Corps of Engineers, meet with U.S. General Lyon, and meet with MMP, who SSA has a contract with through Brusco. So very much involved, and I'm wanting to see the port grow responsibly. I understand truck traffic's an issue. I understand that's a huge issue. I understand the Enterprise Bridge. But the bridge can't even turn. It has to lift, because if it turns and it's so narrow, a ship can't get by it. So it has to lift. I understand there's a closure structure that they're trying to talk about putting them back in Clarksburg to help support some of the area there. I understand there's 27 miles of levee that needs to be addressed. We can help with that. The ILW can help. Our politics are very strong. We're a very strong militant union, and we've secured very strong politics. So I'm looking forward to a workshop to find out how we can do this. But my encouraging of the Port Commission tonight would be to send this contract back to the table and reach a 5-year agreement and have 5 one-year extensions after that. Because really, they should be signing a long-term lease after that. We have other leases out there that go to 2056. We have the highest paying terminal operator, the highest paying lease that we have is being hard pushed on a 3-year contract because what's going on with the city. Believe me, everybody knows what's going on. And 3 years to 5 years is a big difference for union security, for SSA security, and it's a big difference for financial security for the city as well. I encourage everybody to send this back, revisit it. I encourage you to vote it up. Thank you for your time. I know my time's up. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. All right. Any other-
Derek Peterson.
Eric Peterson, Local 18. Sort of like what Tim said. I mean, Rick even said, we're better shape today with SSA. I don't understand why you're cutting from 5-year to 5-year now to 3 with 7 one-year options. That's an insult. You guys say that they're making us better. So why are we sort of tying their hands and saying, you know what, 3 years instead of 5, 3 years instead of 10? We're going backwards with you guys even saying we're in better shape with them. So why would you want to not encourage, but make it easy for them to leave if something goes wrong? There's a date out there. And it sure does match the same date. 3-year contract for him is the 3 years that then you can liquidate the port and keep the money. It seems like it's frustrating, to say the least, when all my life I've heard this port's been struggling. My whole life growing up there and being part of this. And now we're profiting and everybody sort of shoves it under the table. It should be encouraging this company to stick around. Everybody in the past has always said, have them come in and build something. Well, no one's coming here to build anything, but we got somebody that is here with deeper pockets that if they got long-term and the car goes around, I think they would invest, just like the cement company did. We're asking for people to do things, but when they come up and do the right thing and help us, we aren't encouraging them to do any better. 3 years is wrong.
Thank you, Peterson.
There are no more speakers.
No more speakers. Okay, so we'll close the public comment session. We'll bring it back to the commission for questions, comments, discussion. I'll look to
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
do you want to invite, if he's so inclined, Ray Arciniega with SSA?
Absolutely.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Ray.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can raise it if you want or lower it, whatever you
No,
prefer.
it's fine. My name is Ray Arciniega. I'm the terminal manager at the Port of West Sacramento. First of all, I'd just like to say on behalf of SSA that we appreciate the partnership that we have with the Port Commission, as well as Rick Toff and the city of West Sacramento. We hope that we can, like everybody's been up here to mention, to continue that relationship long-term. And we appreciate the opportunity. So
Thank you. Okay, Rick, did you want to start with any response to any of the comments or questions before we begin our deliberation?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I talked about maintenance a little bit. We're bringing the budget to the Port Commission next month, and we'll have detail in that budget about our maintenance side of things.
Okay, very good. That's helpful. Relative to the public comment. Okay, so we'll bring it back for discussion. Commissioner Early.
Yeah, Rick, I would love to know, in response to some of what we heard, could we take the contract from 3 to 5 today with 5 one-year extensions? Is that something we could do?
Yes, we can do that. As I said, 3 years was all about providing flexibility to the city. But that's a speculative, situation anyway. So, we could definitely go 5 years.
Thank you.
I don't have a comment. I actually was going to make a motion, so I'll entertain any other discussion.
Well, I'd love our partner in this SSA, if we did have if we could take it to 5 years. I'm just looking, is this something you'd be supportive of? Okay.
Right. So, yeah, I don't have any issues with that. I think that makes sense. I think what I heard in the public testimony was that it signals a different conversation, a different relationship, and so doesn't sound like SSA has any issues with it. Staff makes sense relative to the staff report and all the components that are built into it. So, keeping it simple. So, if there's some interest in that, or the motion, or further discussion, Commissioner Roscoe.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is my first Port Commission this year. However, I have sat on the Port Commission in prior years as both an alternate as well as a member. I really appreciate the relationship that we have with SSA. I appreciate that over the years that has evolved and that we're in a position that was much better than we were many, many years ago. Thank you so much to all of the speakers today and for your commitment and passion to ensuring that the port is strong and surviving in our city, doing better than surviving, actually, doing very well in comparison to the way we used to be. At this juncture, I would ask the commission to, well, I will move an amendment to the master lease with SSA and terminal operations management agreement with one change. The recommendation would be to change the additional 3 years to an additional term of 5 years. And instead of the 7 one-year lease options, we would change that to 5 one-year lease options.
Early seconds that.
So we have a motion and a second. Rick, I just want to make sure with our board attorney, any issues with the way that's laid out? Doesn't seem like it would be, but I just want to confirm.
There are a couple of changes to Section 3, the extension periods, but I think we can work those in. We just want to clarify. So it would be an extension to 2028. Under the Section 3 of the amendment, we would strike out the 2 one-year extensions. We'd combine some of the language a little bit. So there'd be 5 additional one-year extensions. And then in the last sentence on Section 3, it would be during the initial 5-year extension period, et cetera. That capture?
Yes.
Okay. So captures the essence of the motion. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Early. So Madam Clerk, if you'll
Commissioner Early.
roll.
Aye.
Commissioner Sulpicio Hall.
Aye.
Commissioner Orozco.
Aye.
Chair Villegas.
Aye.
Motion.
Perfect, thank you. All right, very good. Okay, well, thank you for your comments. And so, okay, so that then concludes our regular agenda, the scheduled item 3. Now to the general administration function part 2. So item 4, starting with commissioner reports. Any reports from any members of the commission? Seeing none. Port CEO report. He's not here at the moment. Anything, Amanda? No, or Rick? You want to
No
present?
report.
Nothing to report. Okay. I guess the only other question that I would maybe put out there in terms of public comment, when we are not able to address questions that are raised by members of the public, right? Because we have that's part of the function of our responsibility is to support that effort. But we can't answer it. Staff can't answer it. So I don't know, Rick, is there a place to put that kind of information so that folks who are looking for answers to questions, but we can't discuss it because it's not agendized, maybe it doesn't rise to the level of an agenda item? Is there a way, or would that be something that you would prefer that we just direct staff to respond to the public comment? Or you don't have to answer it now. It's just something to think about if there's a forum by which we can answer the kinds of questions that were raised, like with our third speaker asking about sort of distinct responsibilities with commissioners and city council members. It just seems like something that probably a lot of people wonder about. And so if there's a place we can put that information so that people can read it and see it and understand it.
Sure. You're talking about a written, explanation of addressing the questions.
I think when they warrant it, it'd be a good idea. If there's a question that seems like something that's appropriately ought to be vetted or shared with the rest of the world, then we ought to place it on a platform that people can go read it and know what it is. I just raised that question because this happens a lot in many of the conversations that we have in our public settings when there's questions that are raised but we can't discuss. So you don't have to have an answer
Sure.
now. Just something to think about.
I will add that I'm always available. I'm happy to answer any questions anytime. I think everyone has my number. I'm very accessible. I always return calls. So there's that. And then if there's some official, we do a council newsletter, for example, where we could, it's not really addressing public comment, but it's providing information.
Okay.
I'm open to
Fair enough. Well,
suggestions.
maybe more to come on that. Not to have an answer, just want to raise it. All right. So if there are no other comments or questions, we're adjourned.
Thank you.